Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show weekly podcast with me, Sam, by the way, back again for another episode. In this one, we're going to be talking all things Celtic Challenge as the tournament gets underway this weekend. It starts on Friday night when Edinburgh take on Glasgow, before on Saturday, Gwalia play Brython. On Sunday, the Wolfhounds take on the Clovers in Dublin. In this episode, we're going to be talking to a representative from each of the sides. From Glasgow, we're going to be hearing from Skye Phimister and Lisa Martin. From Edinburgh, we're going to be hearing from Claire Cruikshank. From Brython, we're going to be hearing from Savannah Picton-Powell. From Gwalia, we're going to be hearing from Carys Hughes. From the Wolfhounds, we're going to be hearing from Djougang. And finally, from the Clovers, we're going to be hearing from Deirbhile Nic. It's going to be an absolutely cracking episode. So much international talent, so much future held that talent as well. And it's just so exciting to see this tournament kicking off this weekend. Let's get into this one. First of all, both of you, thanks so much for chatting to us today. Just kind of both of you, just how excited are you for the tournament to kick off at the weekend?
Yeah, really excited. I think the girls have been preparing pretty well, and local derby, first good game to start off the campaign. So yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, same as Carys, to be fair. Like, we've been together now for the last couple of weeks, working really hard, going into the game on the weekend. And I think there's so much like talent in Wales now, and just to see the girls go head to head.
You just mentioned the talent. Just kind of how important is the Celtic Challenge, not just for yourselves, but also for kind of Welsh rugby going forward?
And I think it's really good. Like, I think being able to play in Wales and like play at home, really, I think it's just really, really amazing.
That's same for you, Carys, yeah?
Yeah, same as Sav. I think it's really good that the girls get to showcase their talent and skills at home in Wales and kind of represent their country on that kind of level.
And it's kind of for both of you, just kind of how has your careers kind of got you to this stage? Obviously, you both played in the tournament last year. You both kind of come through that Welsh pathway, but kind of where have your careers taken you so far, really?
I was lucky enough to go to Parma in the summer for the under-26 nations, and that was an amazing opportunity. And I think it was the first Six Nations for the under-20s as well for the women, and it was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, and Carys, obviously, you played. I was at the game where was it your collarbone that you?
Yeah.
Just kind of
Glasgow.
Yeah, how tough was kind of that comeback? Obviously, you missed that summer series, just kind of a long comeback from that injury, missed the end of the Celtic Challenge. Just how tough was the comeback and how well supported were you through not just WRU, but also Hartpury as well?
Yeah, so it was my second time actually breaking my collarbone. So yeah, it was pretty tough, and I was really excited to get involved in the first Celtic Challenge, but unfortunately only made it to 2 games. But no, the support I had from the WRU was unreal. Like, I couldn't have knocked it. You know, I had Declan Isles, who was like kind of heading my physio, and yeah, everyone was just on point. And like also from like a mental side of it, all the coaches were like behind me and making sure I got through it all okay and returned better and stronger, hopefully.
And it's kind of to both of you again, just kind of how important do you see this competition for your development? Obviously, you've seen there's so many players across the nation kind of step up. Just how important do you feel it is for your development?
Good, yeah. Yeah, I think it's massively important. I mean, for myself, who's been playing in Hartpury for the last, well, coming up to 4 years now, obviously it's been amazing. It's been great, and I appreciate, you know, the support I've had from the English side, the Hartpury side, but to be able to come back and play in Wales is just really special, and kind of reconnect with the girls that I've been playing with in under 18s, under 20s, and like even at club level. You know, I played against like Maisie Davis in club, and now to play with those kind of girls at a competitive level in Wales, I think it's really important.
Yeah, I agree with Carys. Like you said, like being able to come home for her and play. Like, I've stayed at home the whole time, but like you said, like playing against players at club level to then now be playing with some of the players, like I think it's really good where you see like talent connect and playing with players and just taking the next step every time.
And you mentioned Maisie then. Obviously, there's so many of that kind of age group who've played in the Celtic Challenge last year. So I think there's Maisie, Gwennon, Sian, Molly, Rosie Carr. There's probably another one I'm forgetting who kind of made their debuts in this year. Just kind of how much of an inspiration is that to see players you've been playing with kind of through the age groups, kind of playing the Celtic Challenge and then get their opportunity at the full international level?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely awesome. Like, I've been so proud of the girls over the last few years. Like, you know, we've all kind of been going through the pathway together, and then being able to see them kick on and get their first caps, like it's been amazing. And like it shows that it is possible, like despite the age and despite the experience that's already in the international squads. So yeah, it's really cool to see, and hopefully more caps to come for them.
Yeah, do you see that kind of the experience of them kind of showing off, even though they're quite young themselves, probably similar ages to you? Just do you see them kind of passing off their experience at the international level at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been in around the international camps like with Six Nations and WXV, so they kind of bring that extra added bit of professionalism into like our Gwalia squads. I mean, we already have like more experienced players like Karen and Carys Williams-Morris and like Bryony and Kat Richards who've like already been around it, but bringing the girls in that are our age who have been capped, it kind of helps us stay focused as well and help us kick on.
Is that the same for you at Brython, Savannah?
Yeah, like I remember last year when I went for the first time and seeing like these international players there, like it is really inspiring to be like, you know, like in the future maybe we get capped and knowing that you can just learn off them in training and in games, just play alongside them is really inspiring.
And obviously, you've both featured in books quite a lot this year. Just kind of how important is that pathway as a development tool kind of going forward for Welsh rugby? Because you see obviously so many at Cardiff Met. Is it 23 of your Met squad are in Celtic Challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just, and obviously there's so many from Hartlepool. Just kind of how important is books as a pathway for you both?
I think it's amazing. Like the level of rugby there is phenomenal. Like I think that's where I've been able to learn most of the things I've learned this year playing in books to help me improve my game and stuff. And it really is like it's such a level where it's constantly challenging you.
Is that the same at Hartbury as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, playing at Hartbury, like it's very competitive, you know, because you have Gloucester, Hartbury and direct connection. And, you know, the girls are always like pushing on and striving to play with them. And like girls are pushing on and striving to start with Bucks. And yeah, it's a really good environment. And I think the pathway is pretty solid. So yeah, it's helping all the girls develop like and bridging over into Celtic and international squads.
And so, kind of what, just kind of touching a couple of things from Cardiff Met, obviously, Eleanor Snowsill's there as a coach. Just kind of, what is she like to learn from as kind of a back yourself and kind of to learn from one of the best players Wales have ever produced?
I think it's like really, really good for Met to be lucky enough here to come work with us. And like just like the skill level that she brings and coaches us, it's really, really good, especially like with her kicking game as well, teaching us backs to kick more, because I feel like in the women's game there's not a lot of kicking that actually happens. So I think to just learn them skills going forward and bring them into the women's game is really big and it's good.
Is it going to be a bit weird kind of facing some of your Met teammates when there's a few in Gwalia, isn't there? Mainly in Brython, but
yeah, there's a rivalry, but best mates off the field, so.
I was going to mention the rivalry, obviously, because there are so many players that you know from kind of growing up, playing club rugby, then playing together with age group. Kind of, is it a bit of a weird rivalry playing against each other in kind of these big derby games?
Go on, Sam.
I'm not sure. Like, I quite enjoy playing against some of the girls, but then I don't at the same time because there are some players, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I hate playing against some of my teammates. But then I think when you know the type of play, it helps you in a way, in the way they're going to play. But I think it's good. I think like going into Saturday, playing against players you know, and stuff like that, it will be I think it'll be a really good show.
Yeah.
And obviously the kind of tournament's expanded this year to kind of those home and away games, to playing both teams twice. It's on BBC iPlayer, it's on Rugby Pass. Just kind of how good is that development of the tournament, making it kind of a bigger thing and more exposure to it for kind of the younger players coming through?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I mean, when I told my dad it was streamed on BBC Sport, he was like, "What?" He was like, "No way." So yeah, I think it's really good, and having the home and away fixtures, it means there's more games being played, more eyes on the game, and I think that means it's developing, and the younger generation can hopefully see more women's rugby being played.
And obviously, you've got the kind of away trips as well to kind of more longer form trips than you used to. Just kind of how important is that as a development for a player to kind of getting used to traveling to games? You see that obviously on the international stage, it's every kind of week in the Six Nations, but for the Celtic Challenge players who might not have done that before, just how important is that for a developing player?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, it teaches you to balance like your rugby life and, like, for myself, uni life as well, because there's a lot of traveling and then coming back and getting back to reality and then back to training. Like, it teaches you what you're going to have to do hopefully in the future, and teaches you to balance everything in life, and also gives you an insight in what professional rugby is going to be, what it's all going to be about. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and Savannah, Carys just mentioned then kind of the balance of uni life. How do you find that balance? Kind of how do you maintain the balance of being an aspiring rugby player, but also studying at university, kind of both at two very good universities as well?
Yeah, I think it is just like finding your focus of like when you're at training, that's your focus, and when you come away from training, like switching off for a bit, and you just focus on your uni. And I think finding that balance, it can be hard, but I think once you find it, then it's okay. Having to stay professional in like the rugby side of it, and just knowing like what's coming up, knowing how you can prepare for stuff.
I'm just kind of looking at the tournament this year. What would a successful tournament look like for both Brython and Gwalia for yourselves?
Go on, Sam.
Need a bit of thinking time, go on, Kat.
I think just for us to be able to implicate everything we've been doing in training, and obviously wins is a bonus, but I think being able to play freely and successfully have successful outcomes with what we've been doing in training, and go by our values, I think that'll be a successful outcome. Obviously, to win it would be even better, but yeah, I think just buying into what we've been doing in training and proving it out on the field, that'll be a successful outcome for us.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, to be fair. Like with just getting everything right, putting what you've put into practice in training and getting it right on the field. I think that is obviously the success. And I think like just playing, like Cara said, freely, and I don't really know what else to say.
Brython the second time.
Like, just like the opportunities that you're being given, like take it with everything you've got.
And obviously, kind of 2025 is a huge year for women's rugby with the World Cup. Just kind of what would get heading into 2025? What kind of your aims individually, kind of goals in rugby, kind of heading into next year? That's another question to both of you.
Have a full season with Celtic this time. No, I think for me, because I've been out for quite a while, having consistent game time is like a massive goal of mine. Hopefully at a competitive level, keeping it at a good level, but yeah, definitely just having game time, and especially at 10, because 10 is still quite new to me, so getting more experience playing there, and yeah, just keep on playing game time.
I think it's more of me getting more game time than I did last season at Celtic, and just being able to play, enjoy the experience, take whatever opportunity comes at me, just take it, and then just carrying on the rest of the season and hopefully be a part of the 20s again after Celtic.
Yeah, it's kind of just looking at the Irish teams in particular. Obviously, they're kind of quite stacked full of internationals. They got obviously eighth away for kind of one of the standout names in World Rugby this year. Donna O'Brien at 10, kind of lit up for Ireland during the Six Nations. Just kind of how exciting is it to be facing those teams and kind of lots of players who played in the Olympics as well? Just kind of how exciting is that and the opportunity to be facing them?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to know like we're going against, some serious competition. And again, it's going to be good for the growth of all the teams and like especially Gwalia to face such strong outfits. But yeah, it's really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same for you, Savannah? Obviously,
Yeah.
that kind of Irish backline for those two teams could be quite tough to come up against.
Yeah, 100%.
And just final one for me, obviously, both of your sides kind of stacked full of future talent. Just if you had to pick one from each of your sides, kind of who would your standout be from Brython and Gwalia? Kind of one to watch.
I think gotta say Maisie Davis. She's just recently moved to the front row. I mean, she was a mean back row, but moving to the front row now, I think, yeah, she's got a lot to show.
Perfect. So both of you, thank you so much for chatting to us today and best of luck for Saturday.
Thank you very much.
First of all, both of you, thank you so much for chatting to me today. Just kind of how excited are you for the Celtic Challenge to kick off this weekend?
Linda, do you want to go first?
No, I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to just really get some game time, get some minutes in. It's just since Vancouver, we haven't really been training a lot. So I say we're all buzzing to get on the field, kind of showcasing what we've been training. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably echo the same. I guess it's a different tournament. It's kind of fun to play against the girls that you train with all the time as well. So there'll be an extra bit of bite to some of it, but in a kind of fun way. And yeah, it's a tournament that's gone from strength to strength for the last 3 years now. So excited to see some of the young talent coming up through it as well. I think that's really cool. Definitely coming from the national talent squad, seeing some of those girls training with us and getting opportunities as well is great.
Just to kind of explain for perhaps people in England who don't kind of follow rugby over in Ireland as much, kind of what does a season look like for you in terms of international, provincial and kind of club rugby heading before you head into Celtic Challenge?
Yeah, I suppose like myself and Linda would be centralised players. So our primary contracts are with the national team. So we train full time in Dublin, and then we both play with the same club. So we get released to play with Old Belvedere, kind of in the windows in between national camp and national tournaments. Our calendar essentially consists of WXV, Six Nations, and then potentially other fixtures. For example, this year we had the Australia game leading into WXV, and in the prep for next year, we'll hopefully have some fixtures before the World Cup throughout our camps as well. So it changes year on year depending on the tournaments that World Rugby or whoever have brought forward. But then sometimes we also get to play an Interpro, which either happens in January or over the summer. And again, depending on national camp, we get released for that. It's just a 4-game tournament against the provinces. So kind of varies a lot.
Yeah, and just kind of looking ahead to next year, just kind of how important is this year's Celtic Challenge kind of building into the Six Nations and also building into that World Cup over in England?
I think it's quite important. I think, like Derv said it there, the Celtic Challenge has gone for the past 3 years. It definitely has grown. This definitely has seen so much talent coming through. And it's all about really just, we've been training after Vancouver. We have really, really good facility here in Dublin. And we know that next year is such a big year for us. So we don't want to, I say, not have minutes before heading into Six Nations. I think it gave us that opportunity to showcase what we've been training, and also to see like new talent like coming through. Like last year we have like Katie Corrigan coming from provincial to Celtic to Six Nation, and to really give those young girls opportunity to really show what they're capable of. So I think we're all just really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And I think on the back of that as well, like our model in terms of training, the Celtic Cup has been structured from a coaching point of view to emulate exactly what's going on at national level. So it's essentially a pre-training camp. So all of those girls, like the terminology is different and stuff like that, but the general shape and patterns and kind of the ideas that, you know, lead into our plan for national are similar at Celtic Cup, and that helps everyone be ready by the time they come in.
Yeah.
And just kind of how good is it to see, obviously, the tournament expanded this year to home and away kind of games, and also those TV deals across Ireland, Scotland, and Wales as well?
I think it's huge. Like, I think this is the way that, you know, for the Irish contingent anyway of players, this is the next step forward in terms of building a cross borders league. You know, it's happening already, and that'll expand over the next couple of years. I'm sure there's plans behind the scenes, but you know, that's what it looks like and that's what it feels like. Becoming more professional and building clubs and club structures out of this Celtic Cup is going to be interesting over the next couple of years. But then the exposure with it as well is huge. Like, the more that audience is opened up, again, it's just more opportunity for people to watch us, to see some of the younger stars and the current stars coming out in games and getting to play different opposition all the time and seeing different pictures. So yeah, it's massive. It's a huge development for us, and I think going forward it's gonna, like, we can all see where it's going. I don't know if it's official yet, but I think we can all kind of agree that it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, and we also have like great like local broadcaster to that TJ Carroll coming on board and helping with the streaming of the game, and even like Irish Rugby Plus. Like that's plenty of opportunity for everyone to really watch the game, and you can definitely see that growth. Like, if broadcaster have put their time and willing to stream the game, and then we definitely going forward with it. So it's a positive thing for the game, and I think BBC too.
Yeah, on BBC as well.
Yeah, to support it too. So it's really good.
And just obviously it's Derby weekend to kind of kick off the tournament. I think it's first 2 weeks as well, isn't it? The two Irish sides are playing against each other. Just kind of, what's it like kind of facing your Irish and your club teammates kind of in a competitive game like this?
Derb, you want to answer?
Yeah, I give it a go. Yeah, it's good. Like, I mean, you know, it's always a bit of crack. We've been like, we'll be training with each other until Friday and then playing against each other on Sunday. I think myself and Niamh O'Dowd will be doing an upper session and trying to beat each other in that on Friday, and then turning around and trying to do the same on Sunday. So it's great. Like, I mean, it's funny because you kind of know how somebody plays from training against them or with them, but it's a very different thing when you take to the field. But it does give the opportunity for a bit of fun, but it gives you a huge opportunity to challenge somebody as well. And I think, you know, looking at the competitive element of it, it's a big year for everyone in our squad. This is a huge opportunity for less established players to put their foot down and more established players to make sure that they don't let that happen. So there's always that extra bit of bite, but it's definitely fun. And I think Scott and Hugh and Dennis, our coaches inside national camp, have been fueling that a bit. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but it's definitely there. So I think it'll be very enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a healthy competition. I mean, like you said it so much better than I could probably put into place, but it's always nice to just get some game time. I feel like we've been training, and And there's definitely competition. There's definitely, I think we're all just hungry to get on the pitch and really put everything that we've been taught and how everything that really we wanted to. Game gives you the opportunity. I mean, as much as you train, there's not such a thing. A game minutes is so different to training fitness. So I think it's a healthy competition, but also it's good to challenge yourself. And also give you that feedback to really see where you are at. So it's healthy.
Have you had much chance to kind of look at the Scottish and Welsh squads kind of that they've been named over the last couple of weeks as well?
Yeah, I think like same as us, they probably have a few. I think they probably have less internationals playing just because of the PWR, but I know that over the last 2 seasons, that's changed throughout the course of the tournament. So again, like it's interesting to watch the new talent come out through those squads as well, because they're realistically girls that you could be up against in a World Cup in a couple of months' time. And I think for those squads as well, like the challenge of the PWR and competing against that in your national or domestic tournaments is probably even tougher because it's closer, you know. So it's interesting to watch them build their squads too and see how that develops for them across the next couple of years.
Just quickly on the PWR, obviously you've got a fair few Irish teammates over there. Obviously, Neve's been over there for a while, but Dorothy kind of shining extra at the moment. It's kind of how nice is it to see her kind of step up and shine in the PWR team who's unbeaten in the league.
Linda, do you want to go or will I?
Yeah, you go. Sorry, didn't.
Yeah, no problem. Look, it's incredible. Like I know, you know, it's a tough call to make as a player. Obviously, moving abroad at any point in a season, taking that chance, taking that risk it's a big call. But a player like Doro, she'll land on her feet anywhere she goes because she's such a professional. You know, she's really detail orientated. She goes about her work quietly and just does her job. So it's great to see her get the recognition for that and to fit in so seamlessly into a club system, and to be competing with the best. And same for the girls that are kind of more long term in the Prem. They made that call maybe a couple of years ago when things were kicking off over there, and you know it's for them. And we definitely benefit from that experience and that exposure that they bring back into camp when they get a chance. But I think, look, it's an exciting tournament over there for sure. And for us now, it's about balancing keeping enough people at home to be able to feed a tournament like the Celtic Cup, which is growing, but also supporting people that are making that choice to go over and try something different and get a different environment and play amongst internationals every weekend. You know, it's cool to be able to do that, to see the kind of mix of people that are over there and learn from different people and different styles.
It's kind of heading into this week and on kind of the start of the tournament. What have you both of your goals team wise for the tournament heading into this year's season?
Clovers come out.
I think like our goals as a team is really to Celtic Challenge. We have a structure that we want to play. We have a style of game, and I think we've been trying to get that practice down to Celtic Challenge, and that would really give us, like, when the girls coming through, they know the system going into Six Nations, and also having minutes. Like, I know I keep saying about playing minutes, like, but that is so crucial going into Six Nations. That you've been playing games, you have playing condition. So I think that's really important, that coming to Six Nations, we're not lacking on rugby games. And I think it's with the structure that we have, the more we play in it, the more comfortable the girls get to get used to it. I think that would benefit us. And that's really, I think, it's one of the goals. Derv, do you?
Yeah. No, I think Linda's put it exactly right. It's definitely about getting everyone aligned. The involvement of our national coaches in both the Irish Celtic Cup teams is huge. They get to you know, coach us every week and, you know, make sure that we're kind of all aligned. So we're playing quite similar styles, and then allowing people to express themselves within that system is a huge part of it as well. For me, for sure, I think getting exposure for the younger groups of players is massive as well, to see how we operate, to see what the standards are, to push those standards, and to also, you know, show their own flair and show what we're producing through the national pathways and the talent identification squads that are going on in the last couple of years as well. That's a huge part of what Celtic Cup is about. It's that bridge between those systems, which are relatively new, and the national squad, which is, you know, becoming extremely competitive, and more competitive every year. So I think from a point of view of tournament goals, those are probably team individual goals. And then, like, we want to have 2 Irish teams coming out on the top of this tournament at the end of it, and to have showcased that we can do that with a wide breadth of new talent and old talent like me and Linda.
Yeah, like, it's all expanding our squad. I think everything we want to do is really expand the talent that we have here and showcase those talents. And I think Celtic Challenge gives us that opportunity to do that. So I think that would be one of, like, a goal of us. Yeah.
And just last one for me, obviously you've both mentioned kind of that new and up and coming talent. Kind of, if you had to pick one for the tournament this year to kind of stand out, to kind of be a breakthrough, who would you kind of give that as a kind of a one to watch in this tournament?
For me, down in Clovers at the moment, I think we have a back row named Jemima, who is an incredible talent, from Connacht, coming through the national talent pathway, coached by Larry for a while. She's just like an insane athlete, as fast as any winger, pure furious with her, like, her contact work, brilliant offloader, good timing with it all. And what I find, like, so brilliant about her is she's like terrified of all of everyone. Like, she wouldn't we put a link into our Teamworks platform to have everyone join a player only WhatsApp, and she hadn't joined it, and we were like, why aren't you joining the WhatsApp? She's like, oh, I just thought that was for just, you know, players that were kind of around for a while or whatever. I'm like, no, you're kind of one of those people now. You kind of have to get on with it and just establish yourself and all that jazz. But yeah, she's an incredible talent, and really, really excited to play alongside her and to see how she goes.
For me, with the Wolfhound, there's so many. It's so hard to choose one, because I feel like everyone is so unique, and so everyone just brings so much different talent. But I have to say, Amy Larn. I feel she's been really, like, the girl can run. She's the speed. Personally, as a prop, I'm just like, wow. She's definitely, she's so multi-talented. She's playing a fullback now, and she's so young, she's so hungry to learn, constantly asking questions. So it's so good to see youngers just wanting to just put their whole body in and just want to learn, eager to learn, enjoying. She played with such a flair that I think she'd be one to really, I'm super excited to see what the future holds for her.
So both of you, thank you so much for taking time to chat to us today. Just best of luck for the weekend and best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you so much.
How important is this Celtic Challenge kind of for not just your development going forward, but also kind of the development of Scottish rugby going forward? Obviously, we see the likes of Emma Raw played in this competition last year, is now at Bears. There's so many other examples of that who've played in the competition, have been capped. Just kind of how important is it for you in Scottish rugby?
It's very important. Like, obviously, I was involved in the very start of the Celtic Challenge when it was the Thistles. And just that, even that was only like 2 years ago. The absolute step that Scottish rugby has taken to develop the women's game has been immense, and especially with the whole British and Irish Lions thing coming along, bringing some of that funding into the women's game. No, it's definitely important.
And kind of just looking ahead to Friday against Edinburgh, just kind of, they were finished second last year. They were really successful. Just kind of how big would a win to kind of start the campaign being, kind of put a notice down for the rest of the league as well?
Yeah, no, definitely winning against Edinburgh would be I think just winning in general, I think would be a big step. Just for the Glasgow women's, but it will definitely bring a lot of confidence within the team to push us to keep going for the rest of the campaign.
And obviously, the Celtic Challenge announced the game is going to be live on BBC iPlayer and kind of stream. Just kind of how important is that as well for to kind of get the eyes on the league and people knowing that this is a viable competition?
Yeah, definitely. So bringing the eyes on the women's game definitely, I think, will arise a lot, because a lot of our games are obviously going to be traveling. So either we won't have a lot of those travelers supporting us, but they can, now that it's live streamed, we'll have them watching from home, and we'll be able just to see how immense that is through social media and stuff like that.
And also obviously being home and away as well this year, kind of more opportunity to go travelling to play in places you've not played before. Just how exciting is that?
It's exciting, yeah. No, I definitely do. I do like an away game. I like the thought of the travelling and just the exciting part of being at a new pitch, but definitely home games, the atmosphere is a lot better.
Perfect. Cheers, Guy. Thank you. Best of luck for the weekend. Hi, Lisa. Just first of all, just kind of how excited are you for the Celtic Challenge to kick off on Friday night against Edinburgh?
Absolutely buzzing, to be fair. Obviously watching it all last year, you kind of seeing the buzz and how excited everyone's getting about it. Not only within Scotland, but obviously Wales and Ireland and stuff. And I think it's been a long time coming, and I think we're keen to back up kind of how last year went and kind of kick on a little bit. Obviously, Glasgow last year had a bit of a rough ride, but I think the girls that come in this season and obviously a few new faces in there is definitely making a massive difference. And to kick it off a high with a bit of a derby is quite nice. Obviously, personally put my Edinburgh ties to the side. I'm pretty much Warriors for the day. So yeah, no, I think it's a great one to start with a nice wee derby day for here, and just start as we go on, really.
Kind of obviously, not to call you old, but kind of the more experienced side of the career compared to a lot of the squad. Just kind of how much are you enjoying kind of passing on some advice and kind of your experience onto those younger players within the squad?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Like you say, I'm kind of more of a mature head on my shoulders. Yeah, it has been nice to kind of come back in again. Obviously, at ages and stages that man obviously didn't think I'd have opportunities like this still on. But having this chance has been great, and obviously seeing the talent that's coming through, not only like girls that are playing the Prem, the ones that are just coming up into senior rugby now is really exciting, and just to even help them out in the early stages of the rugby. I know how much it meant to me having the likes of like Lucy Millard and Donna Kennedy and stuff helping me when I first kind of got into senior rugby, made a massive difference there. So anything I can do to kind of help those guys on their journey and any sort of advice or stuff that I can help them with is great, and just kind of ease them through the games a little bit, because also we know it's going to be a relatively new environment for a lot of these guys and a step up from stuff they played before. So anything to do to help those guys like flourish and thrive in that environment, I'm keen for and happy to do what I can with this squad.
And just how important is a competition like this for kind of Scottish rugby going forward? Obviously, we see Emma Orr has kind of made that step up into the PWR after playing the competition last year. Just kind of how important is it going forward?
I think it's massively important. I think it's quite a jump going from playing in the Scottish Prem to then go up and kick it on into international squads and stuff. So I think this is a massive part of the pathway now, and you're seeing girls involved, from clubs here, there, and everywhere, not just in the Prem, which I think is massive. Like there's talent all across Scotland, and I think it needs to be showcased. And I think having these girls come together in the Celtic Challenge is massive. And like you say, Emma Orr's obviously kicked on herself, and you've still got the likes of Alex Stewart and Miriam Gunderson, who made a massive impact last season, still playing the trade here. And I think, yeah, it's a massive part of the pathway. I think it's something that's needed. I think it's been needed for a while, like I said before, and I wish I was young enough that I could have a few more years of this. But no, I think it's massive for these girls, and it puts these guys on the map. So whether it is a case of they get picked up by PWR clubs, or actually these girls go off to play and play the trade somewhere else, I think it's massive for them, and it's massive for, I think, the top squad as a whole, because you're getting girls that are have played high level environments against international players already, and it's not going to be as much of a shock to the system for them. And I think that it allows them to go in more prepared and better skilled for what's out there in terms of Six Nations wise.
And just last one from me, you mentioned obviously Alex, Stuart and Merrin there kind of plays, kind of who without this kind of Scottish, both sides would be kind of, you pick for kind of one to watch, kind of perhaps to make that step up like MRO's done?
Make a step up into the TWR, hopefully, or just pick one. Obviously Alex Stewart, she's been head and shoulders above those in the Prem for a couple of seasons now, just the way that her work rate is and her ability over ball and things. I think also you got to look at Brython McNamara as well. I know she had a massive season last season in Edinburgh, and is coming across the Warriors. We're very thankful to have her on our side rather than run against us. You've also got to look at the likes of Holland Bogan as well. She's been an absolute star for Stirling County for the past few seasons, and excited to see her kind of kick on a little bit too. Just again, her work rate across the park and her never say die attitude in terms of constantly hitting things, constantly putting her hand up for running, and also the stuff she does off the field in terms of the way she chats as well. Probably Edinburgh wise, I'm trying to think really. You've got a lot of the uni girls. I suppose you've got to look at the likes of Hannah Walker and stuff like that. You'd obviously I know she's just new in, but I think she's got some real potential there in terms of stepping up. And then the likes of Ria Clark as well. I'd like to see her definitely kick on, get down to the PWR as well. I think we're as a nation we're known for having pretty strong halves. I think she's definitely another one that could make that step up and play down south for sure.
Perfect. Cheers, Lisa. Thank you. Others kind of playing their trade down in the PWR, Kieran, Sarah, and a couple of others. Just kind of how much does their kind of knowledge of that PWR rugby and kind of that experience going to help the Edinburgh side in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, Sarah and Kieran there, they were pivotal for us last season. So to have them back involved for this game and hopefully others within the campaign it is brilliant. And the training environment and the experience they've had over the last 3-4 months down in Ealing Trailfinders and Loughborough Lightning is something that we've been, we're trying to draw from them and use their experience within our squad, because it is a relatively young squad, but they've had some brilliant exposure over the last 3-4 months.
You mentioned the young squad. Just kind of how exciting is that for you as a coach, kind of giving these players a big opportunity live on BBC iPlayer? Just kind of how exciting is that for you as a coach, but also for the team?
Yeah, it's huge. The broadcast is brilliant. To have all games across the competition shown across multiple different platforms is fantastic. And the young players want to impress. They want to put their hand up for either under 20 selection going forward, or some of them have got aspirations for national team at this moment in time and building towards that 2025 World Cup. So yeah, it's a great platform for them.
It's kind of how important is kind of kickstarting the tournament with quite a lot of momentum, kind of heading forward into the new year. Yeah,
I think so. It's kind of a tricky start because we've got one game, then a week off, and then one game, and it's a little bit of a bitty start. But the way we've looked at it is there's no better game to start with than Glasgow Warriors at home. It's an exciting one for us. Our local rivals, we know them all pretty well as coaches and players. And obviously that history and that rivalry in the men's game is something we want to start and replicate in the women's game as well.
Perfect. Cheers, Claire. Thank you.